It's time for Mark Mod Monday.
Hey boys, did you miss me?
Injen Technology. I'm sure you've heard of them before. They're a brand that's been out for quite some time now, making performance aftermarket intakes and some other stuff, some other go fast goodies as well. About a year ago, I opted in for the Injen Evolution intake, which is their closed filter model. I like the closed filter much more than the open because it looks a little less rice, sounds a little more refined, and it just looks cool under the engine bay. Here you can see a dyno of the performance. 19 horsepower is pretty impressive from an air intake, and the torque you get is pretty impressive too, it looks like from this chart. Definitely seem a little bit high, the increase, but it's possible. Bringing up the spec sheet, we can take a deeper look into the Injen Evo 3000 intake. It retails for $379. It's a closed air intake, like I said. It's worth mentioning the open air intake. You lose a little horsepower with that because it gets hot under the hood and it sucks in more hot air, ironically, even though it's called a cold air intake, as opposed to the closed filter element. Taking a look here at the pros and the cons, starting off with the pros, it adds more induction noise. So it's a significant hiss from the turbo. Open air intakes usually have more sound. It sounds a little bit better, and the blow-off noise is a little louder and more pronounced. It increases horsepower by 19 horsepower. It's reusable, cleanable. You just vacuum it to clean it. And the cons, it does get dusty. The exterior gets really dusty, as you can see in these videos. You don't really want to clean it off, but it does get dusty. That's every under hood part though. The filter minder seems gimmicky, so it's that little meter at the end of the intake there, up in the upper right corner. It tells you when the filter is starting to near its end of its life, but I've always found that it doesn't seem fully accurate. Overall, I rated this mod a 4 wrenches out of 5. I'll include a few shots here of the intake, as well as some photos. Get up close and personal so you can get an idea of what this intake looks like once it's installed. While we don't have an install video out for this specific intake yet, we could always accommodate if you guys request it in the comments or DM us on Instagram. I've included these last 2 photos to show you that the intake ends right at the turbo outlet, I believe it is. And then as for secondary air injection, all California vehicles, I believe, have them, all newer model ones. It's cool because there's a cap, a rubber cap, and essentially you can just plug up that hole if you're in a different state, or you can use the hose on it if you're in California. To correct myself on what I just said, I believe Golf Rs do not have secondary air injection, even in California. So it's a perfect intake to sell between states and between Golf R and GTI, which I found very interesting. Without further ado, I want to get to the part where you probably skipped to get here, which is the sound clips. Let me know what you think in the comments. So as you can see with the closed air intake, you get a nice refined turbo sound in addition to more horsepower, and it just looks cool under the hood. I'm Deren, and on behalf of GTI Mod Blog, I'd like to thank you for watching this video. As always, you can check out these parts and any other parts I have on my MK7 GTI by going to the WheelWell link in the description. Also, please consider subscribing or liking the video. And if you dislike this video, please hit that dislike video. We don't care, we don't get paid for this shit.
Hit me with that second gear downshift.